specimens globally. And that was the UK Botanic Garden Conservatory came up with that number. So there's quite a few trees on planet Earth, I would say. Okay, 15 strangest trees you didn't know existed. And the first one is my favorite.
Nature has gone seriously haywire. These trees look nothing like anything you've seen before. Hidden away in the forests of Earth, here are the top 15 rarest trees ever discovered. Number 15, Rainbow Eucalyptus. The rainbow eucalyptus is a magnificently colored tree that's native to the rainforests of the Philippines, Indonesia, and Papua New Guinea. But because of the species' unbelievable trunk, they're grown in warm climates around the world. They are fast-growing and can reach a height of up to 250 feet, but it's the unique way in which the bark sheds that makes them so special. It's orange-tinted at first, but breaks off in strips to reveal the vivid colors that are hidden beneath. Hues range from pale green, reds, and oranges to gray, purple, yellow, and brown. The reason why this happens is that the bark is shed at different times, so the inner bark, which changes color as it ages, is uncovered at varying stages of its life cycle. But the almost random splatterings of shades, no two trees are alike, and they look like they've been created in an artist's studio. Number 14. Blue Jacaranda. The blue jacaranda is a stunning species of tree that's native to South America, but has become a popular ornamental tree around the world and can grow anywhere that it won't be covered in frost. Reaching a maximum height of around 66 feet, they have a grayish-brown bark with light reddish-brown branches. It's during the flowering season that blue jacarandas truly come into their own, when they produce large canopies of long-lasting indigo petals. Pretoria in South Africa has become known as the Jacaranda City thanks to an estimated 70,000 trees that have been planted throughout the streets, gardens, and parks. From September to November every year, it's covered in a sea of purple in what is one of the most stunning horticultural displays you'll see anywhere in the world. Number 13. Banyan trees. Banyan trees are a type of fig tree that, instead of growing in the ground on their own, are an epiphyte, which means the seeds germinate within the cracks or grooves of a host tree. Soon, though, the branches and roots of the banyan completely take over. The host tree dies off, and in many cases, its trunks and roots completely fall away. This often leaves a hollow central trunk where it has grown around the host, but the banyan trees often grow far larger than the ones they leech off in the first place. The Great Banyan in India, for example, is more than 250 years old and has a 1,080-foot road that was built around its perimeter, but is now covered in its new growth. With such a complicated network of branches and drooping vines, banyans are a wonder to behold, and there's nothing quite like walking beneath the canopy. Number 12. Dragon's Blood Tree. The Yemeni island of Socotra is home to some of the most unusual plant and animal life in the world, but the most famous thing to grow there is the dragon's blood tree. Looking almost like an umbrella with a straight trunk that grows upward facing branches that divide into two a number of times, and with foliage that only grows facing the sky, this species has become an integral part of local folklore thanks to its deep crimson sap, which looks just like thick oozing blood. The berries, too, are covered in this sticky substance, and perhaps it's no wonder that local legend speaks of how they were used to trap the deadly dragons that once supposedly roamed the land. The sap has been sought after for hundreds of years for use in manufacturing because of its color and chemical makeup, and is popular for varnishing violins, dyeing wool, and for the production of glue, as well as being a common ingredient in homeopathic medicines used to treat a range of ailments. Number 11. Joshua trees. The strange-looking Joshua tree is a species that's endemic to the southwestern U.S. in states like California, Arizona, Utah, and Nevada. It's a type of yucca that's adapted to grow quickly in desert environments, and while the largest ones become up to 50 feet tall, they can have root networks that stretch 36 feet down beneath the surface in search of water. To conserve the limited resources they have access to, Joshua trees don't grow very many leaves, with just a few balls at the edges that face upwards towards the sun for photosynthesis. They've long been associated with the Mojave Desert, and that's where their name comes from. According to legend, a group of Mormon settlers was crossing the desert in the 1800s, and because of the way the trees helped them to navigate, and the unusual shapes that they grew, it reminded the travelers of a story from the Bible where Joshua helped guide the Israelites with his hands reached out towards them. Number 10. Japanese Maple. The Japanese maple is a stunning species of acer that's native to Asia and has been cultivated in Japan for centuries. They're known for the wide variety of leaf shapes and colors that they can take on, and are a popular choice for bonsai growers, and are depicted in numerous historical artworks. The trees usually grow to between 25 and 50 feet tall, and sometimes have several trunks that only join very close to the ground. Even in nature, the species show great variation, so now that botanists have learned how to prioritize certain traits, there are thought to be more than 1,000 different cultivars. They are mostly thought of as having deep purple, red, or pink leaves, but there are varieties with even green, yellow, or even light blue leaves too. As one of the most popular ornamental trees throughout the world and relatively easy to grow, the chances are you'll never be too far away from one, and in all likelihood, you won't have seen its particular color and leaf shape ever before. Number 9. Kapok tree. Trees grow seed pods that are specifically designed to attract animals that, when they eat or rub up against them, they're either ingested or become stuck to the animal's body and can be deposited elsewhere. It's important, though, that only the right kind of animals take the seeds, so kapok trees have developed an unusual defensive measure. They're native to the northern regions of South America and West Africa, where they're often seen growing as high as 250 feet. Their trunks above the buttressed roots can be between 10 and 20 feet thick, and the seeds, covered in cotton-like fluff, grow on the upper branches. This is so they can easily attach to bats that rest on them. But to prevent other animals from climbing up, the trunks of these trees are covered in sharp thorns. This also protects the trees from suffering damage from creatures tearing at the bark, and is one of the reasons why this species is able to grow so tall. They're some of the largest you'll see in the Amazon basin and are a vital part to the local economy, thanks to the cotton that grows around the seeds. They also form an important part of local folklore, where they're believed to have been used to imprison the demon of death, and that the spikes act as a warning to prevent people from releasing him. Before we move on, be sure to subscribe to Top 5s with notifications on. Number 8. Bristlecone pine. Bristlecone pine trees are extremely resilient and long-lasting, with one specimen thought to be at least 5,000 years old, which makes it the oldest known living organism on Earth. They don't grow particularly well in regions where other plants thrive, but are perfectly suited to taking hold where nothing else will, such as on rocky terrain and in places with very little rainfall. Found throughout the US, the trunks and branches take on an unusually twisted and curved shape, which happens because, quite often, most of the material is dead, and there are only small strands that are providing nutrients to where the growth is taking place. There are several so-called ancient forests which are made up of almost exclusively of one of the 3 bristlecone pine species, but there are now increasing concerns that rising temperatures in the regions may stunt the growth of these majestic trees, and conservation efforts are underway to protect